Hi, I'm Jared with theflyfishers.com. Today we're going to look at a fly pattern that I developed called the Supercharger. My main goals with this pattern were to develop a big fly that pushed a lot of water, was still easy to cast, and would last a long time. It's also a quick tie, which makes it nice because we're dealing with fish that are going to beat this fly up. And I don't want something that's going to take me 40 minutes to tie and then I'm just going to trash it with one fish. The materials that we're using, the Magnum Flashabou synthetics and the baitfish emulator, are very tough, shed a lot of water, which make it easy to cast, and still produce a very effective fly. We've fished this all the way from big pike in Alaska to here in the Midwest for big pike and muskies, which we've been successful with, and it's even seen some action down in South America for big peacock bass and even the big toothy payara. Let's take a look at how to tie this fly. To get started, the hooks we're going to be using are Gamakatsu spinnerbait hooks, and we're going to be using this in a 5/0 size. The first thing that we're going to do is lay down some of our thread here, starting at the top and then just getting a good base of that along our hook shank going towards the back. Thread that we're using is the Uni Big Fly thread, which is just a big, heavy, hard pulling sort of thread that works well for these big flies. We're putting a lot of torque to hold big amounts of materials down. Now that we're at the back of our hook, we're going to start by taking some of our Magnum Flashabou and selecting a full length's worth in about 15 strands or so. We do not need a whole lot of it. This is just going to be the beginning of our Flashabou body. So I'm going to trim that down. Lay that up on the top. And give that some good pulls and tie that all in. Then I'm going to keep going forward with some wraps. That way we get a little bit of extra anchoring and security from that tail piece. Our next step is an optional step, and that is going to be tying in some bucktail in a reverse tied manner. This is optional because you can keep going and just building up and continuing with our Flashabou without this. However, I like adding it in because we're going to get that to puff out, and that'll give us a little bit more body and shape to our Flashabou as we add more. So to do this, we're going to start by selecting some of the longest pieces we can find on our bucktail, getting a good sized chunk of that, and then laying that down right in front of where our Flashabou tail was tied in. And so I'm going to kind of spread that across and down our hook shank so that we get it on all sides of it there. So I'm going to take my thread, give it a loose wrap or two to make sure I catch everything, and then give that a good pull down. Get it nice and tight so that those pieces of bucktail flare out just a little bit. Now, I'm going to start by just kind of separating our tops and bottoms here. This isn't going to be necessarily the prettiest step, but it doesn't need to be. We just need some mass and some bulk to hold some of those Flashabou fibers up. So I'm going to pull back my top, push down with my index finger to kind of make it spread out this way so that we grab a lot of it, and then just kind of tie down there to hold that back and build up some body. A few wraps. I'm going to do the same thing with the bottom half. Pull that back, and again, just tie that down and get a good anchor and kind of pull that stuff through there. I'm just going to clean up a little bit on the front here so that we've got a good place to tie in our next round of Magnum Flashabou. After we've got our bucktail tied in, we're going to select another similar size piece of Magnum Flashabou. In this case, we're going to go with the gold. We're kind of doing a copper gold walleye sucker sort of color. You can do it all with one color Flashabou if you want. The color is totally up to you. So we're going to start by putting that up on the top of our bucktail, and then again I'm going to kind of spread that around, rotating that with my fingers so that we've got it as best we can all around the hook shank. I got that. I'm going to bring my thread over, again with kind of a loose wrap, just to grab everything and give that a good pull down. And kind of sort with my fingers here so we can get everything where we want it to be. And I'll lock that into place. Some good solid thread wraps. Just kind of keep everything in order so we're not getting tangled up. Then what I'm going to do is take my excess ends here and split those top and bottom just like I did with the bucktail. That'll give us a little bit more flash, a little bit more body. And then by tying them backwards, that will help anchor in our Flashabou so it's not being pulled out. A few there. Come from underneath. Grab the other ones. And tie all of those in as well. And with these big flies, especially stuff that we're going to be putting in front of fast, hard-eating, toothy fish, we're going to take a little bit of glue. Just going to use a little bit of head cement here and give that a little bit of a touch just to help anchor everything in. A little bit extra security to make our flies last longer. Now that we've got our second piece of Flashabou in, we're going to go back and do one more quick spot of reverse tied bucktail. So I'm going to grab my piece there, clip out another section, and repeat what we did on the front. So I'm going to lay that down, bring it around as best we can again, a few loose wraps, and pull. Separate our top and bottom halves, pull back and tie down.